Welcome to Lunar Sounds Deconstructing Music Videos. Are you interested in making or analysing music videos? Or are you a music lover who wants to look more deeply at the videos by your favourite artists? Either way, myself and Gavin have got you covered with our music video series. Here, we investigate your favourite music videos to explore their narratives, ideologies and cultural impact. I'm Dr Amanda Stephenson. I have a PhD in film and English, and I am passionate about storytelling and representation. I'm joined by Gavin Fry, a filmmaker fascinated by the art of storytelling, who has decades of experience in the film and music video industries. Today we're discussing Jess Glynne's emotional and deeply personal video for Take Me Home. This striking visual story confronts themes of vulnerability, self-acceptance, and the weight of societal expectations to appear flawless. Gavin and I explore how the video's minimalist approach, which centres Glynne in raw, unfiltered moments, encourages viewers to connect with her on a profound level. We'll also unpack the ways this intimate storytelling challenges the polished norms of the music video genre and what it reveals about the universal pressure to be perfect. Join us as we reflect on how Take Me Home invites us to embrace imperfection and rediscover our shared humanity through music and visuals. So, tell me about the video that you've chosen.
Take Me Home. If you haven't seen this, you watch it and then give me your feeling on just the video. Yeah, it's got a few views, 100 million. Because to me, this is much more from the artist and much more, and this is much more showing strength.
Yeah, I think that's sort of putting the song at the forefront, isn't it? Rather than with the confident where the song is sort of to the background, really.
I just, I just think I mean, there's loads of examples. That's just one, which I think is just, it's kind of very accessible video. It's pop music. It's not some weird art music or, abstracty kind of band making some really super interesting video. It's for a popular music video. And it completely genuine. I've had singers break when they've been that to the song that they're singing. And again, it's kind of, yeah. And also so much about it makes sense in a much more impressionistic way. Again, the way the focus is kind of often on a set plane and she comes in and out, the way she
Yeah.
doesn't, the way she doesn't sync properly.
Yeah, she
Um,
hasn't got all the lyrics there. And so it's sort of fighting against that idea that we have to be perfect and that everything has to be polished. And I feel like that
yeah,
all the time
single
in my
take.
life.
Yeah, single take can totally fuck up whenever that isn't important. It doesn't matter when you start and stop. It's kind of, yeah, and that's again, it's a little bit like acting in movies, which is, someone once said to me, there isn't much room for acting in movies, in films.
Mm.
And I was like, what do you mean? And it's like, well, because it's so broken up, it becomes a thing of managing character and things, but it's not like really becoming a character and being able to be that character for long periods of time.
Because it's not
It's a very,
linear. Yeah.
no, and it's a very different art, yeah, to, an actor on stage or an actor, and it's kind of, music videos are often like that. They're often endless repeats of performance, and the joy in the quality of the performance goes, and you're cutting in different performances into each other, and you're creating feeling, but you're not like kind of following it. And yeah, that's why for me, there's loads of cool things that are done in that video, which are on purpose, which are about the song,
Mm.
being naked, being stood there, that thin field of focus. It's kind of, yeah, all of that stuff. Yeah, I think that's a really brave music video with someone to make, because it's not doing any of the things that you
Yes.
often,
Coming
yeah.
across as less contrived.
It's genius to me because anyone could make that music video with the idea, and if there was and there are millions of singers who aren't successful but are incredibly good and have really deeply personal music. Anyone could make that if they just thought of doing it.
And the
It's,
lighting's quite basic, isn't it? It's not trying to create any additional mood with the lighting or, all of those things that you might think you've got to kind of do.
I think it's obviously got separation with the background. I think it's interesting they chose pink, and she's kind of red haired, and I thought the colors were an interesting choice of the visual design.
Mm.
The lighting's kind of cool because it's kind of like beauty lighting, but it's understated a little bit more and it's underexpected. Do you know what I mean? It's not.
Oh yeah, I
It's
mean she's got her makeup on. She's not looking she's looking well put together, although
oh
the
yeah,
hair it's got kind of got that wet look. So this sort
yeah.
of I'm
That's
half done, I'm half
yeah.
yeah.
Like she's soaking wet, like she's just stood there. Yeah, and of course that stuff's all designed. The same with her makeup, even although it's on her, she's also naturally very beautiful, and it's pretty limited makeup to the makeup you might see in.
Yeah, it's
You
very naturalistic.
know,
Yeah. It's just
yeah,
got given her perfect skin and yeah.
she might
Uh,
have that though, it's like
yeah. Well,
again,
that's right.
I have filmed people who just they have perfect skin. Um, so
But it's
whatever you
sort of, yeah, what imperfections are you prepared to sort of express, or which ones do you want people to focus on? Because she could have just done it without makeup. All the stuff about Pamela Anderson, I don't know if you've seen any of that kind of stuff going on at the moment. Um, well, Pamela Anderson doesn't wear makeup anymore, and she's kind of it. She didn't mean for it to turn into this political statement, but it has. She went on the Barrymore show, and Drew didn't wear makeup, in solidarity and stuff with her.
but again,
Uh,
it's easy to do if you've also spent an entire life doing it, if you made millions of pounds from using it. It's easy to give that up, I think that's a and I think it's a lot harder for someone like Jess Glynne. I think it's harder
Oh
for
no, it's not about no, it's not about judging Jess Glynne and saying she should have done that. Like the message isn't good enough or anything like that. I think it's like
Pam,
picking on which
yeah.
perfections. Because if she had gone on without makeup, right, we expect to see people in music videos and we expect to see kind of famous people. We expect to see them in makeup. And if she had done that, then would the focus have shifted from the lyrics a bit more? Would the focus then have shifted from her expression? Do you know what I mean? So it's sort of like you
Yeah,
can't.
I just think that I think that's a step which is would require probably not pop music and probably not trying to sell music. It would be more punk attitude in
But
terms.
so yeah, but what I get is that she's trying to be put together, but she's not, right? So she's got the makeup, but she's naked and she's got wet hair, right?
Yeah,
So it's
and she messes up the performance, and yeah,
and that's
she's trying
part of
to,
it. Yeah, she's
yeah,
trying to be put together. She's trying to hold it together. Um, yeah, and just sort of letting those emotions out, I think, and it's hard not to watch that and sort of feel that connection.
it's interesting though to see her actually without makeup um and do it 100% wholeheartedly, completely
Mm,
stripped bare and naked and not, in the metaphorical sense. And I've got a feeling that that video was far more contrived than we know,
mm,
but I still think it was someone. I still think the message of it in terms of being vulnerable and being strong at the same time and being all of them thing. I still think the point of it, you have
yeah.
to you have to contrive stuff a lot of the time. But I think what that video is trying to say to other people watching it, compared to what the Robert Rodriguez one is trying to say to people watching it, very, very different things.
Mm.
Um, but they still both exist in the world of high aesthetics, though, I think, as well. It's kind of if my 18-year-old niece feels pressure to wear makeup every day, then recording artists and everybody is bound to feel
Well,
like
yeah, and what sort of criticism? Because there's a fine line, isn't there, between going, "Oh, that's a brave video," like you showed your emotions, and "Oh my God, you look like shit." Like
yeah, in our
And
world.
women get so much negativity, like all the negativity, women get negativity all the time just about the way they look.
But
Um,
I think in music there's been a shift for all sexes and genders. I think there's an ages. I think there's been a real shift in music. It's like when I was young, musicians could be fat old men,
mm,
and women, and I don't see that much at all anymore. Virtually every actor, person on TV, pop star, tends to be pretty beautiful now. Um, it's like, and there aren't many old ones as well. It's like in the 80s, there were all kinds of people that were massive, massive selling stars. Phil Collins, Elton John. There were just, there were loads of bands and
mm,
people. Oh, and if you looked like that as a man today, you'd be struggling to get a record deal. There are exceptions again, which everyone makes a big fuss of, like Lewis Capaldi, and it's almost because he's almost become like some sort of token caricature for if your voice is good enough, you'll get. And it's like, nah, it's more like tokenism, It's
mm,
like they allow a little bit of that to look like it's inclusive, but in reality, I think it's as difficult for men and women. Women have probably been experiencing that a lot longer, but I think men now on TV, you have to have perfect, beautiful, straight teeth just as much as a woman does. You have to. Lots of men are getting fillers and Botox. So many men go to the gym now, and bodies. Like when I was a teenager, me and my friends didn't go to the gym. We didn't think we needed muscles and six packs and stuff.
hmm.
Whereas the 18-year-old boys I know now feel pressure to look like they're men on Love Island just as much as young girls do. Um, but as a society, we go further and further down that. It's like we pretend we don't, but the sexualization of society gets more and more and more.
Well, yeah,
Not
traditionally it's sort of women are judged on what they look like, and men have been sort of traditionally judged on what they do out in the world.
And now
Um,
we've become so superficial as a society that everyone is judged on how they look a lot, men and women in a massive way.
mhm.
Uh, and I think instead of women being brought out of that, it's like the cosmetics industry. It's like the amount of makeup and stuff that has always been pushed on women. But metrosexuality led to them just going, oh, well, we can push this same shit to men as well. It didn't cut down the makeup industry. It gave it was like, oh, we can not only can we hook every woman to feel the necessity to do this, we can even start getting loads of men to feel the necessity. They've grown their gym memberships. Um, there's just as many women and men in gyms that I've been to who are all trying to, not all, there's lots of people in different ways, but
Mm.
there's a lot of young people who are there aesthetically. I've spoken to people, they're not there to get fit, they're there to look better. And there's loads of pressure on everyone, I think, to look better now.
Mm.
Um, even people that aren't famous, who aren't on Instagram, who aren't young.
Yeah.
I still feel pressure when I go to things or go out in public or whatever to try and look better, as
Hmm.
opposed to thinking, oh, this is just me. I'm 44 now. I don't give a shit what people think about how I look. But I do. And if I do, you can't ever blame anyone who's being watched by millions of people for it. It
No, not at all.
must just make it so much worse, you
Well, yeah,
know?
because there's this idea that they're rich and famous, so they don't have feelings in that way, the same way that we all do. Um,
Which is
you know,
insane.
it is
So many,
insane.
especially musicians, because so many musicians are still, the film industry's probably got more of a class structure to it than the music industry still.
Mm,
There's still, it's a little bit like sport, the music industry, where it still takes actually predominant of its catchment from often working class. communities.
Mm.
And I think the music industry still got that a lot, and realizing that a lot of people don't know how to cope with money, don't know how to cope with all kinds of things, and they weren't expecting this in their life. They weren't raised around it and kind of adjusted to some of it on some level.
No.
And that's why, there's so many horrible things happen to people in these situations. And I have filmed and made videos with a lot of people who felt like they were on the precipice of their emotions, and that the music industry wanted to keep them there because their art was better there,
Mm. Mm.
And that's like Jess Glynne, when you watch that video, although it's brilliant and all them things we talked about, I also think, fucking hell, like that's pain.
Mm.
And the song is about, and it's like, I think we often forget that artists have to go through an incredible amount of shit um, in their lives to make stuff a lot of the time, and yeah, it's easy to forget that actually they're probably people that struggle more
Mm.
than most, regardless of their money and things. Um,
Yeah, because there's a reason they're making music. It's to probably express things and work things out. And
yeah, yeah, it's all art, right? It kind of comes from an imperfect society, and and an expression of kind of trying to communicate that. So yeah, I think, and that's what I think, how you make really good music videos, although it took me a long, long time to learn that, and I don't know if I'm doing it, but I feel like that's what a really good music video is now. It's kind of, it is trying to be authentic, whatever
Mhm.
that means. But and it can mean all different types of people that is who they are and what they're trying to talk about. That's the challenge of a filmmaker, is kind of how much do you commit to the material, and how much do you still impose your thought, and yeah, where that line is tricky. I don't know where that Jess Glynne one, did she come up with that?
Mm.
Maybe someone like me came up with that. But she certainly performed it, and she certainly came up with the song, and she certainly agreed to it, and she certainly understood it. And a lot of this stuff is really collaborative.
Definitely. I think it's really interesting thinking about that balance between the artist's vision and the creative input of other collaborators on a project, because obviously it's a very rare occurrence where there's one person making a music video and doing all the music and doing everything themselves. There's, pretty much always other people involved. I think, however it was made, Jess Glynne does come across in this video as really authentic. She reminds us that it's okay to be imperfect and vulnerable. And I think this is a great reminder for anyone, regardless of their age or their gender. But that is all we've got time for. So until next time, keep questioning, keep creating, and we'll see you in the next episode.